Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we got a game in the Mogami for you. Tago, Mimbelli, Einstein. If you don't have any of those guys, well, you probably got Mimbelli or have access to them. But I would definitely run Makawa. Japanese cruisers, I've been suggesting Makawa pretty much since I began playing them right after the game launched. Atlantic domination mode game here. We're going to be trying to focus a little bit on cruiser positioning and staying alive in the game. A lot of people, you'll see it online. Oh, there's too many destroyers in the game. Let's cap the amount of destroyers. There's too many battleships in the game. Let's cap the amount of battleships. So what class do you play there, dude? Writing the comment. Oh, I only play destroyers or I only play battleships. Well, you're part of the problem then. Everyone's doing the same thing you're doing. You don't like it because the game's designed to actually. If you watch the pro level players on the PC play the game, they got like one or two destroyers per team, one or two battleships per team, and everyone else is in cruisers. It's designed to be played primarily by cruisers, and cruisers are actually the strongest pieces in the game in terms of damage dealing output, and they're the main counter to the main scoring piece, the destroyer. So there's a lot of reasons to play cruisers. The only reason to not play them is, oh, I get blown up too easily. Well, we got a lot of videos on how to stay alive. We're going to be talking a little bit about positioning here, though. And we'll see here, because we're actually going to get stuck pretty close. And now, a lot of times with these Japanese cruisers, we don't want to be... you got two ways to stay alive in a cruiser. Let me just reformulate how we go about it. You can be moving, dodging, weaving, or you can be playing islands, both to block your detection and to cover yourself. So you're relying on the vision, you're relying on the terrain to protect you, and you're relying on your increased mobility vis-a-vis the battleships that are going to be shooting at you. So opening deployment here, you can see we're to the southwest of our team pushing C. We do have a bit of a crossfire, not a huge crossfire, but a crossfire opportunity nonetheless on the Marley. Go ahead and get him with the AP. Didn't hit him too hard with the Citadel there. Might not have the pen at this range to do so, but we still get a nice juicy shot, and you can see with our positioning here, opening position, I usually just would like to do a little bit of a loop. Let the play develop, see what we can do, see if we can get a little bit of early damage, and maybe even hit a destroyer or something, but we're going to get these torps down. You can see the zoning torps we're just throwing out there, not at anything specific, we're just torping areas. Gaps where if someone's moving into B, well, he probably would have crossed, if the destroyer in particular is moving into B, probably would have crossed through that opening salvo. So that's all we're doing there. We'll go ahead and flip around. We'll put some torps out on the other side, and we'll just get them down. And then at that point in time, we're going to have a better idea. Our destroyer does not go around the big island. Thank God he goes into sea finally, and he's in the process of capturing that. We do have a carrier this game. He doesn't leave us alone until very late, so I kind of forget mostly about the carrier until it's pretty late in the game there. But we're just kind of doing our thing here. Now, here's how we react to battleships, and here's what you can tell when you see... it's very easy to spot a bad cruiser player. They sail towards battleships. Like, they try and get really close to them. Anytime there's a battleship that we're engaged with or, they're attacking us, we sail away from them, okay? If we don't have island cover that can protect us, we sail the heck away from us. But immediately the game plan changes here because red team's lone destroyer actually pops up. He was rushing our team's radar cruiser, which maybe not the soundest of strategy, but nonetheless, the planes that were flying above him actually spotted him. And, the Indianapolis that's behind the island that I guess he's trying to push. I don't know what he's really doing, to be honest with you. But, he's actually blocked from firing at him. I didn't realize that. I thought, looking at the map, he could shoot. Now he's backing up. I see he's backing up. And then the Biscuit and I think the battleship behind him are actually going to start laying the pipe onto this guy. So he gets out of there. So we're kind of... try to fight this thing on our own. We do want to kill this thing, okay? We're talking about countering the scoring pieces. If you can kill the only destroyer on the enemy team game right off the bat before it scored any points, that's strong. Because now the rest of the team is forced to push into the caps, and you can play more conservatively. Let your destroyer do the scoring, capture the bases for your team, and then you just hold off the red team from getting onto any caps, and you'll win basically by default by doing that. So, kind of a reckless play there, unfortunately, for red. But now look at us. Because we're going balls to the wall trying to kill him. We don't care if we die. But now we got 3 battleships that could potentially shoot at us. We evaluate the map. Okay, we do have an island here right by B, which will give us good control of B, by the way. And since we don't have a destroyer, we can control our visibility a little bit more. You can see we drop spot. We stop shooting. now we've continued to get closer to the island. We've effectively blocked the Bismarck directly in front of us. This Georgia will shoot at because we're moving forward here. We'll disengage and drop spot in a couple seconds. You can see right there, once that little jut out of the island blocks our vision from him, he can't see us again. So now we can fire for free. Trying to stop here. I'd rather get all the full guns on there, but we're still going to fire with the back guns while we can. And then we're keeping an eye on the map because we got that battleship directly to the west moving south. And if he goes deep into A, he'll eventually spot us, and then these guys can potentially return fire on us here. So we're just basically now, because we've killed the destroyer, we've captured C. By attacking this Georgia, we're trying to check him and make sure he cannot move into C. We want to make it painful for him. We want him to log into his Reddit account and be like, too much HE spam in the high tiers. I hate this. Make them complain about the fact that you're countering them. But that's what these cruisers are trying to do. We're going to be... You can get a lot of damage on the battleships, yes, but we want to be protecting these caps. The faster your guns shoot, the better your ability to do this, because the more you hose down your enemies, the more they're going to get annoyed. They're going to turn around and try and do something else. We saw shots emanate from this Bismarck, so I'm looking on the map trying to find this cruiser. There it is, a Southern Dragon. That's a Miyoko with electric paint on it or whatever. Bismarck gets a shot off, and you got to realize with these cruisers, every single time we get hit there, that's potentially the end of the game, especially with my build. On this Otago, we got 10% increased incoming damage as a trade-off for outgoing damage buff. Dodge the Southern Dragon's torps here, and now we switch to AP, and this is when we're going to see the full power of these the battle station's AP guns here. Southern Dragon stuck broadside. I know he's going to definitely try and gun his engine. Do get the back gun blocked, but boom! Look at that. We got quad citadels there with 4 additional pens, 2 defense ribbons, and most of his health gone. We're going to pick that little gap there. We're aiming right at the gap and hoping we can squeeze him through. Boom, boom, boom. Didn't quite get him, but he's low. Now he's trying to slam on the brakes. The momentum's going to carry him through, though. One more pull the trigger, and we're going to melt the full health dragon into no health in 3 shots, which is about 45 seconds, give or take. So that's pretty effective. You don't want to be screwing around. When you get close range as a cruiser to the Mogami, the Otago, the Miyoko ships of these nature, the AP is pretty good. I don't think it has great pen at long range, like we saw on the Marley earlier. Whether or not those would have been Citadel shots or not, who knows. But I don't get a lot of Citadels at range with this. Granted, I don't shoot a lot of AP at range, but when you get close range like this, go ahead and rip him. That's what we're trying to bait the Miyoko into doing here. Wasn't spotted for a while, hoping he flashes the broadside, recognizing he slams on the rudder and holds the angle at 45. We shoot, and you can see he skips the shots out there. So good job maintaining that angle. Otherwise, we would have probably whacked him pretty hard too. The correct play for him is just pin himself right on that island there. He needs that to survive. But all of a sudden, we got torps coming in here, and I'm like, what? The destroyer? And I'm like, now I'm looking at the top screen like, there's no destroyer. What is it? Oh, and then we see the planes, of course. Gosh darn, we don't like the planes when they're attacking us. Miyoko angled here, so he's actually doing a pretty good job protecting himself. He's eliminated these kill shots. We did have the AP loaded for a couple, hoping to get some broadside shots, but he prevents that. Unfortunately for him, the destroyer was rushing him. I would never rush a cruiser as a destroyer. If I'm that Miyoko, that destroyer is probably dead, even if he kills me. But nonetheless, the destroyer does get him with that. We're stuck with the flood. We can't move very well. Bismarck will, of course, kill us. And that's going to probably wrap it up here as soon as we get shot. So, not a huge barn burn of the game by any means. Doubling the damage that we've done here. Very common, but strategically, I thought it was a sound game. Of course, we're going to dominate the scoreboard at the end of the action. 14 resets, huge amount of damage on the destroyer, and just a complete full health to no health on the Miyoko. So pretty effective game overall. We kind of controlled the center of the map, but I wanted to show that game because I wanted to try and get you guys to get into cruisers. I want to kind of revive my effort, and that relying on the positioning and the environment, that's kind of the key to the cruiser play. If you're just going to be, you definitely don't want to be sailing into that Bismarck, for instance. If I'm trying to rush him with torps for God's sake or something crazy like that, you're definitely going to die. There's no chance that game lasts for more than 2 minutes. But if we're in general sailing away from battleships, and that doesn't mean sail out of range, but we want to be engaging them. Shoot them, shoot them, shoot them as you're sailing away. When you are out of range, turn back into them, then rinse and repeat. Anyway, that's a look at the Mogami for you. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing.